Greetings! Mantore79 here, and welcome back to another deck profile video for the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game. And now in today's video, the deck profile I'm going to be making one for is a V standard formats. Kagero's Dragonic Overlord the Great with By Attack Dragon. Alrighty, let's get started. First up, the starting unit. And now, first up, the Grade 0 lineup. For the Grade 0s in this deck, we are playing 1. Grade 0, Lizard Soldier Conroe. The Grade 0, Lizard Soldier Conroe, starting unit. Skill, Auto. When rolled upon, draw a card. Then, if your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 1 or greater, put a Quick Shield ticket into your hand. So, for Lizard Soldier Conroe, he's the starting unit of this deck. Like any other starting unit in the V standard format, it features the same skill and activation. When written on top of, you get to draw a card. Then, if you're the second to rise to Grade 1, you can add a Quick Shield to your hand, which can serve as a potential 5,000 point shield. And with that, we just about covered the deck's Grade 0 lineup. Next, let's get on with the deck's Grade 1 lineup. And now, for the Grade 1 lineup. For the Grade 1s of this deck, we are playing 4. Grade 1, Dragon Knight, He Shot. 4. Grade 1, Lava Flow Dragon. 4. Grade 1, Flame of Hope, Airmo. And 2. Grade 1, Normal Order, Halo of Bonds, Solidar Bangle. The Grade 1, Dragon Knight, He Shot. Skills, first skill, Auto as a rear guard. When placed, cost, Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1. If the cost been paid, draw a card and choose one of your opponent's back row rear guards and retire it. Second skill, Auto. When rolled upon, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Grade 3 or greater card from among them, put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. So for He Shot, a pretty powerful card to play in your Kagero decks with skills. The first skill, when called as a rear guard by paying the cost, not only do you get to draw more cards to restock your hand, but can also clear your opponent's field of rear guards by retiring 1 in the back row. And the second skill, when you ride a Grade 2 on top of He Shot, you have the chance to look at the top 5 cards to your deck for a Grade 3 to ride later, thus making He Shot second skill a good way to secure a Grade 3 to ride to, or to secure a Grade 3 to make use for whatever you wish to use it for in your upcoming game strategies. The Grade 1, Lava Flow Dragon. Skills, first skill, continuous as a Vanguard or rear guard. During your turn, if you have more rear guards than your opponent, this unit gets plus 5,000 power. And the second skill, Auto as a Vanguard or rear guard. When placed from hand, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Grade 3 from among them, put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. And if you put a card into your hand, discard a card from your hand. So for Lava Flow Dragon, another good card to play in your Kagero decks with skills. The first skill, while as a Vanguard or rear guard, as long as you meet the conditions of the first skill, your Lava Flow Dragon then can serve as a potential 13,000 point attacker for the front row or a 13,000 point booster for the back row. And the second skill, when ridden or called, you have the chance to then look at the top cards of your deck for a Grade 3 to secure for your upcoming riding or later game strategy, thus making Lava Flow Dragon a good way to search your deck for Grade 3s you wish to ride to later, or to make use of for any other game strategy you have for a necessary Grade 3. The Grade 1, Flame of Hope, Airmo. Skills, first skill, continuous as a rear guard. During the battle this unit boosted, this unit gets plus 3,000 power. And the second skill, Auto as a rear guard. When your opponent's rear guard is retired during your turn, cost, retire this unit. If the cost is paid, draw a card and countercharge 1. So for Airmo, another good card to play in your Kagero decks with skills. The first skill, when boosting, your Airmo then can serve as a potential 11,000 point booster for the back row. And the second skill, when conditions of the skill are met and you pay the cost, not only do you get to draw more cards to restock your hand, but you can also refund your counterblast for later skills. And now, the Great One. Normal Order, Halo of Bonds, Solidar Bangle. Skill, cost, put a grade 2 or less card from hand into the soul. If the cost and paid, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 card from among them, put it into your hand, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So for Solidar Bangle, a pretty good order card to play. With its skill, when with the cost and paid, you have the chance to search the top 3 cards of your deck for anything to add to your hand later. So Solidar Bangle is not only a good way to restock your soul for later Soul Blast, but to also secure a specific card you wish to use for your upcoming game strategy. And of that, we just about covered the deck's Great 1 lineup. Next, let's get on to the deck's Great 2 lineup. And now, for the Great 2 lineup. For the Grade 2s of this deck, we are playing 3. Grade 2, Buy Attack Dragon. 4. Grade 2, Burn Rise Dragon. And 4. Grade 2, Dragonic Neoflame. The Grade 2, Buy Attack Dragon. Skills, first skill, auto as a Vanguard or Rearguard, once per turn. When this unit attacks a Vanguard while boosted, cost, Soul Blast 1. If the cost and paid, choose a column and retire all of your opponent's rear guards in that column. Second skill, auto from the hand. At the beginning of your ride phase, if your Vanguard is grade 1 or less, cost, discard this card. If the cost and paid, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and choose up to 1 grade 2 or less card from among them, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. So for Buy Attack Dragon, a pretty powerful card to play in your Kagero decks. Its skills, the first skill, when attacking while boosted, by paying the cost, you can then clear your opponent's field of rear guards, giving you a better advantage. And the second skill, if you choose to activate its second skill while at the beginning of your ride phase and while you're at grade 1, you have the chance to search the top 5 cards of your deck for a grade 1 or grade 2 unit whose skill you can take advantage of later in the game for your upcoming strategies. The Grade 2, Burn Rise Dragon. Skill, auto as a rear guard. When your Vanguard stand by a card's ability, cost, counterblast 1 and discard a card from your hand. If the cost and paid, this unit gets plus 15,000 power and plus 1 critical until end of turn. So for Burn Rise Dragon, another powerful card to play in your Kagero decks. With its skill, after your Vanguard re-stands by a card ability, by paying the cost, you can then add power and critical to your rear guard Burn Rise Dragon. And the best part about this skill, it's stackable. For if you choose to play a Vanguard who can restand multiple times, as long as you have the necessary cards to pay for the cost, you can continue to add more power and critical to Burn Rise for every time your Vanguard restands, giving you a powerful front row rear guard to help you either to pressure or finish off your opponent with. The Grade 2, Dragonic Neoflame. Skill, auto as a rear guard. When your Dragonic Overlord the Great attacks, until end of battle, that unit gets plus 5,000 power, then cost, counterblast 2. If the cost and paid, that unit gets plus 1 critical. So for Dragonic Neoflame, it's a support card for the Dragonic Overlord the Great. For whenever your Vanguard or Rearguard the Great attacks while you have a Neoflame in the rear guard, you can then give the attacking the Great plus 5,000 power and the chance to increase its critical. And the best part about this skill, it's stackable. For if you manage to secure multiple copies of Neoflame the rear guard, when the Great attacks, all of those Neoflames will activate their skill, giving your attacking the Great a huge boost of power and the chance to increase its critical, making your Neoflame a good support card to give the Great a easier chance to either to pressure or finish off your opponent. And of that, we just about covered the deck's Grade 2 lineup. Next, let's get on with the deck's Grade 3 lineup. And now, for the Grade 3 lineup. For the Grade 3s in this deck, we are playing 4. Grade 3, Dauntless Drive Dragon. And 4. Grade 3, Dragonic Overlord the Great. The Grade 3, Dauntless Drive Dragon. Skills, first skill, auto as a Vanguard. At the end of the battle, your drive check revealed 2 or more normal units. One of your front row rear guards gets plus 10,000 power until end of turn. Second skill, Auto as a Vanguard once per turn. At the end of the battle, it attacked. If your hand has 4 more cards, cost, discard 3 cards from hand. If the cost is paid, stand this unit. Third skill, Auto. When rolled upon, choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets all of this card's auto abilities other than this ability until end of turn. So for Dauntless Drive Dragon, it's one of the main grade 3s to ride in this deck. Its skill is the first skill. In the event that you're after attacking with your Vanguard Dauntless Drive Dragon, if you reveal no triggers and only normal units, you can give a rear guard on your front row plus 10,000 power. So for this first skill, it's a good way to more or less have a secondary offense ready in case you fail to get any triggers for if you have a powerful front row rear guard to take advantage of by making use of Dauntless Drive Dragon. You'll have a good way to either pressure or finish off your opponents with the increased power. And the second skill, after attacking, as long as the conditions of the skill are met and by paying the cost, you can restand your Vanguard again for another attack, thus giving you more chances to either get more triggers or to pressure the opponent with the additional Vanguard attack. And the third skill, in the event you ride a new Vanguard on top of Dauntless Drive Dragon, for that turn, the new Vanguard inherits the first 2 skills of Dauntless Drive Dragon, the ability to give your rear guards plus 10,000 power when you reveal 2 normal units in your drive check, and the ability to restand your Vanguard for another attack. Thus, this third skill is a good way to combo the new Vanguard you ride on top of it, giving you a large variety of skills to take advantage of with the Dauntless Drive Dragons and the new Vanguard you wrote it on top of. The Grade 3, Dragonic Overlord the Great. Skills, first skill, Auto as a Vanguard. When placed, call up to 1 Dragonic Neoflame from your drop zone to rear guard. Second skill, Auto as a Vanguard once per turn. At the end of the battle, it attacked. If your soul has a Grade 3, cost, counterblast 1 and discard 2 cards from your hand. If the cost is paid, stand this unit and one of your Dragonic Neoflame, and they get drive -1 until end of turn. So for the Great, it's one of the main grade 3s to ride this deck. Its skill is the first skill. When riding the Great onto your Vanguard, you can then Superior Call a Neoflame from drop zone to rear guard to serve as a potential front row attacker or a rear guard whose skill you wish to take advantage of later in the game. And the second skill, after attacking, as long as the conditions of the skill are met and you pay the cost, you can not only restand your Vanguard, but also 1 rear guard Dragonic Neoflame, giving you 2 more attacks to help you either to pressure or finish off your opponent with. And of that, we just about covered the deck's grade 3 lineup. Next, let's get on with the deck's trigger lineup. And now, for the trigger lineup. For the triggers of this deck, we are playing 4. Grade 0, Angry Horn Dragon, critical trigger. 2. Grade 0, Embodiment of Spear, Tar, critical trigger. 2. Grade 0, Dragon Knight Janat, critical trigger. 2. Grade 0, Wyvern Guard Bari, draw trigger. 2. Grade 0, Toxify Light Dragon, draw trigger. And 4. Grade 3, Dragon Dancer Nastasia, heal trigger. The Grade 0, Dragon Knight Janat, critical trigger, Sentinel. Skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may only have up to 4 cards of Continuous Sentinel in the deck. So for Dragon Knight Janat, he's one of the Sentinels for the Kagero clan's V standard format. Like any other Sentinel, he's a powerful defensive card. For Janat's case, he alone can serve as a potential 30,000 point shield on his own. The Grade 0, Wyvern Guard Bari, draw trigger, Sentinel, perfect guard. Skills, first skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may only have up to 4 cards of Continuous Sentinel in the deck. Second skill, Auto. As a Guardian, when placed, cost, discard a card from your hand. If the cost is paid, one of your units cannot be hit until end of battle. So for Bari, he's a perfect guard for the Kagero clan's V standard format. Like any other perfect guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When used to guard with and discarding 1 card from your hand, you can block 1 enemy attack. The Grade 3, Dragon Dancer Nastasia, heal trigger, heal Guardian. Skills, first skill, Auto. When this unit is put on the Guardian circle from hand, if you did not ride a Grade 3 or greater unit during this fight, perform one of the following. First effect, choose one of your vanguards and it gets plus 10,000 power until end of turn. Second effect, choose one of your opponents and it gets -2 critical until end of battle. Second skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the rear guard from hand, if your damage zone has no cards, put the top card of your deck into the damage zone. So for Nastasha, it's one of the heal guardians for the Kagero clan. And for skills, the first skill, when you would guard with Nastasha before riding to grade 3, you can activate one of 2 powerful defensive effects. For the first effect, your Vanguard gets plus 10,000 power for the end of the turn until end of turn. So for this first effect, it's a good way to stop your opponent from rushing you too early by attacking you with a large number of attacks during the early phase of the fight. And the second effect, just like the first effect, it's a defensive skill. It can reduce your opponent's attacking unit by 2 criticals, thus making it easier to hold back any heavy damage early in the game from opponents who manage to hit you with high critical attacks early. And the second skill, its skill is used when you call it from hand to rear guard. From hand to rear guard, then if you have no cards in the damage zone, you can place the top card of the deck face up on the damage zone. This way, it's a good counter to use against the opponents who play the damage denial strategy. The damage denial strategy is when your opponents prevent you from using your skills by not making you have any counterblast ready by not attacking you, giving you no cards in the damage zone. With Nastasha's skill, you can then more or less work around the annoyance of the damage denial strategy, giving you at least 1 counterblast to work with. And of that, we just about covered the deck's trigger lineup. For the triggers of this deck, we are playing 8 critical triggers, 4 draw triggers, and 4 heal triggers. And now, after having just explained the deck's build and card effects, next, let's get on to explain the deck's main playstyle. So for the main playstyle of this deck, first you just ride normally from grade 0 to 3. Try to make sure your first grade 3 is Dauntless Drive Dragon. Then in your next turn, ride a Dragonic Overlord to Great on top of Dauntless Drive, using Dauntless Drive skill to pass on his abilities to Dragonic Overlord to Great. Then use the Great skill to call at least 1 Neoflame to the front row. And in your other front row, maybe secure a Burn Rise Dragon for the other one. And in your back row, use any great ones or anything you wish to use later. So then when it's time to attack with your Vanguard first. Use your Dauntless Drive skill to restand it later. Then maybe attack with Neoflame next. Then when it's time to attack with the Great, you can then use the Great skill to restand both himself and Neoflame. And then all while you use Burn Rise Dragon's skill to continuously stack its power for every time your the Great restands, giving you a large number of attacks that can help you to finish off your opponent with the high amounts of power and potential critical. And so again, the deck's main playstyle, ride from grade 0 to grade 3, the first grade 3, a Dauntless Drive Dragon, then ride a Dragonic Overlord to Great, use Dauntless Drive skill to pass on its skills to the Great, then secure at least 1 Neoflame, 1 Burn Rise, then just take advantage of your Dauntless Drive and the Great's restanding skills to give you a large number of attacks, all the while using Burn Rise Dragon's skill to continuously stack power and critical to give you a powerful attacker to help you to potentially pressure or finish off your opponents. And of that, we just about covered the deck's main playstyle. And of that, that's just about all the time we have for today. First I want to say is, thank you to the viewers watching today's video, and to please stay tuned for more videos I plan to upload again in the near future. And I also hope you all show support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my videos and channel. And of that I say, goodbye and see you all soon!